Hey there, everyone. Dave Barlow here with the guys from Sell for 1% Plus One. We got Rich Ciccone. And Rich, we're going to talk interest rates here this morning. And I know we're a day early with regards to the big announcement for unemployment comes out tomorrow, but we're getting some indications. ADP came out with their number, and there's been some other hints as to what's going to happen, but we've also seen hints in the past, and I think it was in January that, things were kind of pointing the opposite direction, and then we had like 500 million jobs, that were added, in about a 3-week period. So we don't know what's going to come tomorrow, but how is that going to impact what's going on?
Well, I mean, that is a big number tomorrow, and you are right. We've had signs of economic slowing, the economy slowing down over the past few weeks, and the various numbers. And the ADP report you referenced was out on Wednesday, showed a weaker job market than was expected and what we had in the past. Today we had jobless claims. There were more claims for unemployment this week than were expected. I think like 228 versus 200, something like that. So the signs are pointing towards maybe a weaker jobs number tomorrow. And of course, as we've said in the past, that is one of the big indicators to the Fed as to whether they will continue to raise rates or not. So the expectation at the moment is that the Fed maybe will raise rates a quarter at the next meeting, and then pause for the foreseeable future and see what happens next. And that's what's causing mortgage rates to come down, because it's always forward thinking. And right now, the mortgage market is thinking going forward, the Fed is either close to being done or done altogether with this round of rate increases. And in reaction to that, we're seeing a 30-year fixed rate right now in the low sixes, 6 to 6.125. And again, as I've said, Dave, it varies on your credit scores and your loan to value, and whether you're a first-time home buyer. There's a lot of things to go into a mortgage rate. It's not just a one size fits all type of thing. And the FHA rates are like,
I'm sorry.
The FHA rates are slightly lower than that, and maybe even in the high 5s or 6%.
Okay. Yeah, I think, back in the old days, was what, 6 months ago, we could call you, Rich, and say, hey, what's the rate? And you'd say, okay, here's the rate. Now everything is kind of changing and due to federal regulations. And so rates are now more based on your actual credit rating and other variables that are thrown into the soup. And excuse me. And from there, you guys can figure out what a rate is. I think you were just talking about before we got online here that you've had clients here recently that pretty much the same borrower, but one it was at 6.125 and the other one was at 6.25, and you're not really sure why the difference.
Right. It's just that when you put it into the pricing engine, the computer that prices these loans, they're looking at all the different things, debt to income ratios, total household income, loan to value, credit scores, and all that means something to the algorithm that prices these loans these days.
Yeah, and us as real estate agents, we have to get used to this new way of doing business as well, because we have clients that'll call and say, hey, where can we get the best rate? And Jason has one right now that, is talking with a new build finance company, and they can't give the buyer an idea of rate until they actually make application. And then once they make the application, then we can tell you what your rate's going to be based on all these algorithms that are going into what you're calling the pricing engine. So, and you're doing the same thing there at Equitable Finance, correct?
Right. It's the same. I would concur with my competition there that it's very difficult. I can give a range, but until I have all the factors involved in this in this rate, then we're probably just guessing for the most part.
So what is the range right now?
Well, within certain tolerances, it's around 6% to 6.375. But if
Okay.
you get somebody that's really off the rails, like has to have a conventional loan, because FHA loans do not penalize you as much for credit scores. So if you get somebody with, for instance, a 660 credit score, the first reaction is FHA for this borrower because they'll get a better rate. However, as you guys know, being the realtors call you and say, hey, we can't do FHA on this house. We'll never get the offer accepted. We have to go conventional, or maybe the loan amount is over the conventional limit. Then if you have somebody with those 660, 640 type credit scores, they're going to need a big down payment. And then that rate might be 6.875 on a conventional loan, just to get a conventional, because of the extremely lower credit scores. Because conventional is now looking for a 780 or better credit score to get the best possible rates.
Okay.
But
all things being, all things being somewhat equal, about 6 to 6 3/8 thereabouts is the rate as of April 6th, 2023.
At 10:15 a.m.
There you
back
go. Exactly. Exactly. Mike, you had a question?
I was curious if the credit thresholds, because I know it used to be 720, 740, you could get into those prime rates, but that sounds like it's pushed up a bit higher from there.
It's pushed up, yeah.
Okay.
It's pushed up to 780 to 800, and there really is no, there's a base rate that the secondary market offers lenders, and there's really no credit score loan to value mix that gets you that base rate. You're always going to take an adjustment from that on the yield of that loan.
Interesting.
So why they even have the base rate, I don't know, but it's become very complicated.
Yeah, to say the least.
Well, that's why we have somebody like you. So,
right. Just call me.
To navigate the waters, Captain Rich.
Yeah.
You need an eye patch. There you go. All right, Rich, thanks for the insight here this morning, and we'll see what the unemployment does tomorrow, and we'll probably see rates next week jump up to around 8% or something like that. I bet.
Yeah. or 5. We don't know.
Exactly. Who knows? All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you need more information, looking to do a loan, give Rich a call. His information's here on the screen, and I know Rich would love to talk to you and help guide you through the either refinancing, purchasing a pre-owned home, or even a new build. And you guys are doing commercial loans now as well. So if you want to buy that Amazon 600 million square foot building out in Pataskala, Rich can help you do that.
Ideally, yes. Mike,
right.
Thank you, Jason, Jamie, Dave. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Rich.